Today we're going to do forward bends, which is flexion. Last week we did back bends, which is extension. Okay. So the forward bends then still require us to have a concave spine. So I'm going to be harping on that, continually reminding you to lift your spine so that if you're a less flexible person, you need to have more height, whether it's the blocks or a chair, because maintaining from here to here is what's really key. These things, the legs and the shoulders facilitate it. They help it. So we learn to use these shoulders, not to roll them forward, but to roll them back and lift the chest to maintain that spine. Okay. This also, I'm going to tell you in the middle of this class, excuse me, of course I got this just before we started. When we get, I'm going to broach the subject of headstand and shoulder stand. It'll be a very preliminary introduction, and then we'll move along. If you do headstand and shoulder stand, you'll go ahead and just do that. And I'll talk about other options that they're not the same as those two poses, but they'll give you some of those benefits, okay? So we'll get a little dicey in the middle, but we'll make it through. All right, so Adho Mukha Virasana, we're gonna sit. If you need a blanket for your knees, you sit on a blanket. If you need support behind your knees or a block between your feet, try to make that block as low as possible. But it's important when you start these deep knee bends to create space behind your knee. So you see, I'm really working my hand up my calf to the very top of that muscle. And then I let my weight start to come down. And my hand is pressing pretty firmly into that muscle to get it to soften and broaden so that the knee joint has more space. So this is very healthy for your knees. And especially, I don't know, if you get to our age, by now you've done something to your knees here and there. And so mine was the sort of like the 3 years of heavy duty gardening I did, which kind of irritated these medial meniscus here. I've never had a big issue with it, but there were times when I couldn't bend my knee. Let me get a drink of water and see if that helps. It's annoying. So work on your knees for a minute. If your calves are like mine, they resist that a little bit. So it's very healthy for us to smash those calves down and push them out. So create that space for yourself and also create the support you need to get into this position. Then we're going to take the toes together and the knees apart. We're going to sit up tall. Think about this hip crease. Think about the concavity in your upper back. Extend forward. Draw the abdomen up, so don't hang forward. Draw this abdomen up and in. Come forward. Find your blocks. I overestimated. Sit back. Draw back through the hip crease. Extend. I don't want you to drop your head. I want you to keep looking forward. You can push the blocks a bit to help your hips go down. And let that action take effect for you. As always, remember this always, even though I'm moving forward in my instruction, listen to your body. If it's not quite ready, then you wait a bit. Work on the actions in order. Then, when you're ready, keep your hips down. This gets tricky. Keep your hips down and pull your shoulders back so that the arms, that humerus bone, goes right up into your shoulder socket, and you feel that upper back draw inward. The arms are working, pressing the blocks, so the triceps are contracted. These muscles on the back of your arm are contracted. And see if you can take them now, your arms a little further without taking them out of the socket, maintaining the concavity of the upper back. Keep the hips down. Draw the front body up. All right, let's come up. You can keep your hands on the blocks or not, but it's a good challenge because it makes you work your legs more. You can just scoot your blanket out of the way, walk your feet back, lift up, 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 and press your knuckles down on that block. Lift up out of the shoulder, lift the shoulder up off the humerus bone, and then draw back, pull back with your legs. You can bend your knees here. Soften your knees a bit, deepen that hip crease, draw your heels back, and touch and go. You can go up and down, creating some space. Arms have to work a lot, legs work a lot. Draw your abdomen up, keep a steady breath, keep that concave space in your upper back. Then we're going to walk in. Now then, maybe come up on your fingertips, maybe raise your block so that you've got this concave spine in Uttanasana. So you start maybe here, and remember the leg work. The muscles along the top thigh spread. Muscles on the front of the thigh lift so that the kneecap lifts up, the leg straightens. Toes spread. Feet press the floor. Let that action work up your legs. And then draw up through the front body. Even as you deepen the forward bend, I want you to find the maximum that your legs will tolerate and maintain the thoracic spine. Just keep looking ahead a little bit. Don't let your head hang. Keep your head up. Here we go. Straighten those legs. Push them up and back. All right. Then put your hands on your upper thighs. Lift up. And join your feet for Tadasana. Stretch those big toes together. Draw the heels toward one another. Lift your toes. That's particularly important for a lot of reasons. It's important for the health of your foot because it lifts your arch. So if you're a person whose arches tend to drop, this is very healthy for you. Another thing it does is it brings your weight back toward your heels. And when that happens, the posture lines up. The legs have to go to work more, trunk, everything gets locked in and put on alert. Something's happening. Stretch your arms down, lift your chest up more, draw your shoulders down and back, lengthen your neck. Urdhva Hastasana, palms facing, draw up. When you first go up, okay, come back down. Come back down. Because what I saw was a lot of people Okay, you were very conscious in your Tadasana. And then I said, Urdhva Hastasana, bring your arms up, and everyone went, a lot of people did that. All right, and I'm going to suggest that you lost your consciousness in your trunk when you did that. Let's do it again. Big toes together. Press the feet down. Draw the heels in. Lift up through your legs. Tailbone, pubic bone. Up through the trunk. Shoulders back and down. Stretch your arms and lengthen your neck. Arms are purposeful. Body, everything is purposeful. Everything has your attention. Maintain the attention in your trunk as you bring your arms up, parallel to one another, extended, and bring them back as far as you can, maintaining your trunk strength. Now, reassess, readjust your trunk. Things will go out, but we're paying attention so we can fix them. And bring your arms back, ultimately alongside your ears. If you have problems straightening your elbows, elbows should be straight. You can use a belt at your forearms. So from now on, I know who you are. If that's your issue and you're not getting those elbows straight, grab a strap. All right. Palms to the ceiling. Stretch up through the heel of your hand. Touch your fingertips if you can. Feel that extra work. And then press out and be purposeful as you come down. Nice, strong action. All right. Now it's a Ardha Konasana. Just a couple of standing poses to warm us up for what's coming next. So get your blocks for standing poses. If you need the wall for stability, you certainly can stand back to the wall. Stand between your blocks. Nice big distance there. Ardha Konasana is a wide pose. Okay, because we have blocks, if you feel safe, you can jump, but we can step as well. Okay, I got really close to my block, so get your feet wide apart. Look at your hands. Your wrist should be over your ankles. And you should be leaning forward like I am. I was busy, so I'm fixing it, right? This is our normal. You tend to lean. So soften your knees, press your feet down. Scrub the heels in, press the outer heels down, lift up through your inner legs, stretch upward. Straighten your legs. Up through your trunk, lift your chest off of your ribs. Press your arms down. Engage these triceps right there. Press down and engage the triceps. Okay, I'll be mirroring you. Turn your left toes in. Turn your right leg out. Now, our bodies went with that. We want to turn the trunk back to face directly ahead. That puts some demand on these hip joints and muscles. Okay, and, if you're like me, this knee wants to turn in every single time. So bend your knee a little bit. Square your hips up again. Get your trunk, get this joint to work. Get these muscles to work. This leg is strong. Back leg is strong. Now, get your trunk, work against this. Move this hip forward. Pull the knee back. Pull the knee back. Then, with that knee pulled back, the muscles on the back of the leg work to straighten your leg. Now both legs work. Lift through your trunk, shoulders down, tighten those triceps. Take an inhale. As you bend your knee, your awareness is on everything else. The trunk stays, the knee bends, the arms stretch. No place to look, no place to go, just bend the knee. extend over to the side with your arm coming right down, touching your knee, the outside of your knee, and press your knee into your arm. You can have as much height there as you need, but you should be feeling this work in your right hip, those muscles. Lengthen through your trunk, roll those right ribs forward, soften the left ribs back, bring your arm over your head, palm faces the floor, bring the arm right alongside your ear. Look up. Bring that arm up, push up, square your feet, change sides. So, for me at least, it's easier to get my hips and trunk going straight when there's a little give in the legs. So, the knees have to go the same direction as the feet is in the final analysis. So get your hips squared, bring your arms up and press down to activate the triceps. Lift your chest, draw up from the back side of that leg. Use the muscles, lift. Now keep your lift. For a while, I wasn't doing a very good job of that. For me, I found if I turned my palms upward, it was like a hallelujah moment, that helped me, helped my mind. So you have to find the little tricks for yourself that work for you. Bend your knee 90 degrees. Then you're going to extend over to the side, pressing into the block, pressing knee into the arm. Feel that work in the hip. These are really important for hip strength. These muscles in our hip joints. I'm going to be taking a class on Sunday about hip strength, so we'll see what I learn new. Extend and come over, revolving the left ribs forward. Soften up your right ribs. Soften the right ribs. Look up. Press the knee into the arm. Stretch the back leg. Inhale, come up. Square your feet. Step or jump. Okay. Trikonasana. Stand in Tadasana for just a moment. May need to catch your breath. Lucky you didn't have to talk all the way through this. All right, take your legs apart, nice and wide. Step or jump, wide, wide, wide. Utthita Trikonasana. Lift up, as we have been doing, same technique, up through your legs. Use these muscles. Left toes in, right leg out. Soften the knee, turn your trunk. Use these muscles to lift and straighten. Utthita Trikonasana. Inhale, lift, bending at the hip crease. Keep the trunk strong and stable. Reach with the top arm. Will help you. We'll come down to whatever your support is. First thing you do is assess. For most of us, the hips and legs may have relaxed a little bit. Everything went, oh man. So re-energize your legs. Lengthen out through your trunk. See that everything is in a similar plane. That your hips are not to the back and your chest to the front. Everything goes toward the same plane. Keep pulling that right hip up and back. Revolving your trunk. Stretching your arm, looking up. And pull yourself up. Change sides. And if you're having a problem, so I'm seeing some of this with the hips going back and the trunk going forward like that, you see? That's not gonna be healthy for you. So if that's happening to you, work at the wall. Same sides. We're going to your left, feet wide apart. Draw the legs from the feet, lift up, square your hips, lift your trunk. Keep it lifted as you press the arms down. Inhale, lift up. Keep that lift, strong legs. Exhale, extend. And lift up through your legs. Open up. Top arm over the bottom arm. Bottom leg straight, drawing up. Keep breathing. And inhale as you come up. Feet in. Tadasana, real quick. And then Prasarna Padottanasana. This one you can have 2 blocks in front of you. Back to Tadasana, and then inhale and exhale, jump. And get your feet much wider. I always put my hands on my hips just because it brings my awareness in and up. Shoulders back. Take an inhale. As you exhale, maintain all of those actions. Simply crease at the hips. If your hands are there, you can pull those elbows back. And this is concave position. So get your feet well placed on the floor. Press down through your heels. Draw up and spread the hamstrings. Draw your abdomen up. Draw your shoulders back. Look forward for that concave position in your upper spine. And you're welcome to stay with that work. But if you're more flexible, you can take your blocks down a level. But the point is to keep all of those actions going. Do not give up any of that work to go further down. Work at your maximum, but work well. Now, if you have more, you can take your hands back. Keep looking forward as you go forward. That's the final pose. Work at your level. This is a little bit of a restorative because our head is down. And then you might want to walk your feet in a little bit. Hands on the top thigh. Come up. Step in. Now we're going to have Uttanasana. So the feet can be hip width. Again, you may want your blocks right in front. Strong legs, Tadasana. Take an inhale now and really fortify yourself. Get ready to go. As you exhale, keep this lift, keep this length. Come down and touch your support and rebound upward. Draw up your legs. Keep the abdomen lifted. Keep the concavity between the shoulders. Strong legs. Keep breathing. All right. Let's come up. All right, we're going to do just a little bit. We're going to do headstand one way or another. If everyone had 2 chairs and had been in my class before, well, most of you have, but not all of you have done headstand. So let me, I want you all to work at the wall, but let me show from a couple of angles the proper action and arrangement of things. Whether you go up in headstand or not will depend on a lot of things. And one of them would be whether it's appropriate for you to do it. But another one would be your experience and your upper body strength. All right. So when we practice headstand, there's an interlock of the fingers, and these inner little fingers kind of go parallel. So if you put one under the other like this, you have this imbalance. So the little fingers line up. The second thing to notice is that there's a wide angle here in my hand. I'm not letting my hands come close together. I want to spread the hands out so that I can put my head there. So the forearms go on the floor, the elbows are right under the shoulders. Now, the next idea is to keep this right angle. Everybody can see this? Do I need to adjust? Let me move back, that'll be easier. Now you can see me. Keep this right angle here at the upper arm. So when we put our head down, we have to lift our body and press these arms back. And we want the very top of our head to snug up into our hands. So these upper arms press back, and we lift our back up, and we lift our hips up, and we use our arms, pounding the forearms down on the floor, keeping the wrists and the knuckles perpendicular. And if you are able, you go up into headstand. If you're not, come down. Richard is always the headstand king around here. He's got that handled. Use your shoulders, Richard, and your legs. All right, everybody else, repeat. I'm going to go here a little closer. I think you can see most of me. Interlock your fingers. Little finger tucks up under. Thumbs touch. Wrists are wide. When you put your hands down, the wrists should be perpendicular to one another. It should be perpendicular on the floor. Elbows under the shoulders. And as we take the head down, these upper arms press back so that they should not collapse forward to get your head down. Create space in your neck right now and get the top of your head on the floor. Raise your hips up, stand on your toes. Keep the knuckles and the wrist perpendicular. Press the forearms down and lift up. Lift up through the trunk. Legs are active. Everything is active. Take a few breaths. Then come down. There are a lot of things that we can teach around headstand, but it's just a challenge to do that in a Zoom class. So I think that's going to be a good start. If you have neck issues or shoulder issues, headstand may be a challenge for you. But we're going to start by understanding this architecture and the strength that you need to hold that pose. Okay? Sitting Dandasana. Move this back. And you're going to grab your strap. Dandasana. you sit in Dandasana, we join the feet, big toes, spread those toes, but at the same time, pull the sole of the whole foot, those toes, back toward you. The toes are spread and pulled toward you. Hands are on the floor, just behind your hips. So press the heels forward, draw back through the tops of your legs. Press your sit bones down so that engages your abdomen. Lift your trunk. Draw the elbows down and toward one another to open the chest. And too much is too much and not enough is not enough. So keep this, you have to build. And if, for example, I pull my elbows together very strongly, well, that can feel good for a minute, but it's not the pose. We've destroyed all of this. We let go of all of that to get the shoulders in. So it's a sequential building action. And your head is balanced right there over your hips. Take some breaths. Press the knees down. Draw the thighs back into the sockets. One thing that'll help that is pressing forward with your fingers. Alrighty. Then Upavishta Konasana. It's best if at least your heels are on your mat. You may have to scoot back if your legs are longer or you're less flexible. You may have to scoot your hips behind off the mat. Find the inside of your heel and roll your legs so that the inside of that heel is touching. And then roll back, keeping that awareness on the inner heel until your foot is perpendicular to the floor. The feet are acting just as they did in Dandasana. Toes lift and pull back toward us. Fingertips right beside the hip. And press the knees down. Press the knees down. Lengthen. Lengthen. Lengthen up through your trunk, neck. Let the shoulders soften down. Draw the elbows toward one another and down. And one hand at a time. Be careful. If you're careless, you'll lose everything you just gained. One hand at a time. Get a grip on the floor there. And then carefully release the other hand. Grab the floor. Now, draw your shoulders back. Lift your chest. Find that concave action again in your spine. And when we talk about in your spine, we're really talking about your upper back, not your lumbar. Sit bones press the floor. If you can go further forward, maintaining that concave spine, you can walk your hands forward. If not, you keep working where you are. But the spine remains concave. So it doesn't round back. It stays in. Use your muscles. Use your imagination. Sometimes we just have to imagine ourselves doing something to help us do it. All right, come on up. Now, kind of relax, stay in the pose, but kind of relax the pose for a moment. It's going to twist to each side, not too long. Okay, re-engage. Work your heels, your legs, feet. Draw the knees up, fingertips behind, sit bones down, abdomen up, chest lifts, hands behind. Lee, hands behind. It's not getting it. All right. So then we're going to turn, I'll mirror you, turn to your right. So bring your left hand around, right hand at the back. We're going to turn to your right. And first, I don't know about you, but I get a lot of resistance from down in here. And so before I let that win, let's draw the chest up, shoulders back. And then work on everything together, twisting, extending, lengthening, observing, improving. It never stops when you're in yoga asana. Well, it does stop eventually, but I'm a long way from there. Then, if this is going well for you, then you go forward. You must maintain this concave spine. This hip stays down. And it can help you too. Well, it can help you first if your hip's coming up. Just put your fist right there on the very top of that thigh and just tell it you're talking to it. You know what it's doing. Don't let it get away with that. If that's going well, then the hands are in front of you and you're turning your trunk and lifting your chest. And then walk back in. Sit up tall for a moment. All the actions, boom, get them quick. And then same sides. And lift and draw your shoulders back. And get that action to go all the way through. It's not just a twist at your waist. Lee, I think you're frozen over there. You haven't moved. Get that twist to happen at your waist and your trunk. And the legs have to be strong to resist and give you a base for action. Give that some time. Work through it again and again from bottom to top. Get that action very clearly. If it's going well now and you're getting it, you proceed. If you're still working on it, you keep working on it. To proceed, you're going to take your hands forward a little bit. Check the back hip. Lift up. Keep that concave spine. Let your trunk turn. We haven't done any twisting, so we have to warm to this. Let yourself go through the work. Let the action improve, improve, improve as you stay with the pose. Keep the trunk lifted, keep the spine concave. All right, release that. Sit tall for a moment, one more second. And then pull behind your knees, one leg at a time, draw your feet in, and stretch the legs out. Straight ahead. Now you can see me better. Okay, so now we're going for Janu Sirsasana. So these are, you're going to notice, these work your hips quite a bit. These seated poses and the standing poses we did work the hips quite a bit, and it's very important for our stability and mobility. All right, so you're going to keep your left leg in Dandasana. Soften the right leg, pull it back, close the joint by pulling your shin toward you. Bring the heel, if you can, into the groin of your right leg. If you can, if you have an injury or some other thing, you can bring it further forward, but it's best, the better action would be to sit up higher. So if you can't get your heel in to this groin and your knee down reasonably well, grab a blanket and sit on the blanket and sit higher. And be very honest, because this helps you develop the right skills to do the pose. Okay, and then we're going to lift and twist. So now the right waist has to move forward and up. The left waist moves back, shoulders back, chest up. Use your arms to help you get that twisting action. Now we're going to go forward in Janu Sirsasana. So if you need a strap for that, have it nearby. And inhale and really recharge, really just charge yourself up and extend forward and push with your arms. So even if you don't go all the way, lift up, lead with your chest, and look forward. Keep that upper back concave. And then very carefully reach forward and get your foot. If you can reach your foot, wonderful. If you cannot reach your foot, use a strap, because we want to maintain. And look, I can reach my foot, but here it's a little bit easier to get that concave spine. So press your foot into your belt. It should go around the ball joints of your toes. Draw your shoulder blades in, lift your chest. Feel that action, and keep that action and begin bending your elbows. Sometimes that is a better approach than just reaching ahead and then trying to fix everything. You see what I mean? So do what is going to work and come forward. So keep the concave, press the legs down, sit up on a bolster or a blanket if you need it. Elbows lift high. Lifting the elbows high keeps the spine concave. I resisted that for a long time because I didn't get it. I didn't understand why I was supposed to do it. And I thought it looked silly. But now I understand why I'm supposed to do it. And so looking silly is really not an issue anymore. Okay, come on. Let's change sides. Dandasana. Sit for a moment. Take a moment to notice how different the two sides are now. Then draw your left leg back, draw the heel in. Usually you have to adjust the hip flesh at this point. So here you can see pretty clearly that my heel is right in this groin. And that is the best place for the health of your knee. So if you can't make it there, it's best to elevate your hips. So then we're going to sit up and get that twist going. Lift your chest, press into your left leg, right arm behind. So the arms are working firmly. Then when you think you've got when your chest is made it around as far as it's going to go, and where it needs to go is your sternum is facing your right leg. Then you're going to lift your trunk up, press down with your hands, lift your trunk up, and press yourself forward. That initial action can be a little confusing to your mind unless you do it about 1 million times, right? So help it with that transition so that you're accurate. Then, if things are going well, you can grab your strap. This is what I'm going to do. Grab my strap. Now I've got to go back because, I lost some of that twist. So I'm going to take my hand down and re-engineer my twist a little bit. Now I'm better. And lift up. Lift up and lift your elbows up and draw the shoulders back. Really get your shoulder blades back and your chest up. Come on, Richard, move your shoulders. Pull them back. And then if you can, and keep that, elbows up, shoulders back. If you can easily grab your foot and maintain that, go right ahead. If you can't, work with what you've got, keeping your left hip down. All right, come on. Okay, Dandasana. You're still going to need your strap, so don't lose it. Proper Dandasana. Now we're going to go forward. A couple of ways this can happen. One of the best ways, and one way that keeps us in our mode, is to grab our big toes and lift our elbows and go forward. Alternatively, you can slip your strap between your big toes and your other toes and put your big toes to work. They really have to press forward, and you learn something by doing that. All right, so let's try that. So from our Dandasana, we're going to come forward, just slip the strap between your big toe and your other toes, press those toes forward and up, lift your trunk up, widen your elbows, lift them up, don't lose your toes. Feel the concave action in your upper back. If you can go forward, you do that, but keep the concave action. All right, and release that and sit up. Yay, we're through with that section. Hang on to your strap if you use it for Chatushpatasana, that back bend, okay? You may need it in a minute, just hang on to it. So now you get to lay down. So, lay down, on your elbows, draw yourself back a little bit, and then feel the extension. So if you set your hips right, and you lengthen your trunk as you went down, right now you should be getting a wonderful traction on your low back. The lumbar spine is a little bit more down, but not being pushed to the floor by any means. It's just extended more. We've taken some of the curves out for a moment just to get extension. Tuck the shoulder blades flat, open your chest, feel that extension through your spine, all the way up to the top of your spine, up inside your head. Now, Chatushpatasana, bring the heels close, close, close to your hips. Toes are in. Grip the side of your mat. Some people, the reason I said keep the strap is because some people like to use the strap. Eventually, we're meant to grab the heels. All right. But getting going is fine. And for this instance, it's fine. Get your shoulders under you, heels close, toes in, press down through your heels, draw your thighs into one another, lift your hips up, adjust your shoulders, walk them a little closer to your hips maybe, and lift up again, lifting your sternum up toward your chin. Draw those thighs in, draw them in and lift your hips up. Breathe. And come down. One more time. Set your feet. Grip the mat, tuck your shoulders, lift the hips up, draw the thighs in, reach down. Can you touch your heels? Lift up. Grab your ankles. Press the shoulders. Draw the thighs in. Lift your sternum toward your chin. Feel the work that has to happen in your upper back. And come down. Release your shoulders. Walk your feet out a moment. Maybe adjust your t-shirt. Take a few breaths. And then roll to your side and come up. So next, we're going to talk about a shoulder stand action. If you practice shoulder stand, go ahead and get your setup and proceed. I'm not going to teach full shoulder stand today because most of the people here have not done shoulder stand. So there are several options. One of the really nice ones, it's going to involve, I hope you all have 3 blankets. It's harder to do on a round bolster. If I had enough bolsters and everybody had a flat bolster and a round bolster, life would be perfect, but it's not. So, so you're going to take, I'm sorry, I folded this wrong. Open it out this way and tri-fold it. So we take like our hands on 1/3 of it, and then we take that fold over to the other edge. We're going to do that again. Take your hands about 1/3 of the way down. Take that fold over to the other one. And then you're going to stack them one on top of the other. Okay. This is called Sektubandha Sarvanasana. I'm going to move this back because I want to put my block down here under my feet, and I want them to stay where I put them. You can have your 3rd blanket or your head. Oh, I would suggest not doing what I just did. Put the fringe edge on the other side, on the bottom. And have your strap. Now, I'll tell you right in front that the blankets are not as stable as a bolster. Of course, they're not. You can put 2 blocks down here. So keep that in mind as you mount and dismount. So have a strap ready. I also like to strap around my thighs. You can be ready with your strap on your thighs, not too tight yet, just so you can manage it. You're going to guess because you want to sit down on this pile in a place where you feel, it's a guess, over time you get better, that your shoulders are going to roll off of this. Your shoulders come off to touch the floor. Your head then will end up in this chin lock, similar to what happens in a shoulder stand. And the chest is lifted very firmly. And it's wonderful. It's very relaxing. So minding the stability here, try not to mess things up too much. You're going to move around, find your edge, come down on your forearms, and lift your chest up. And just stay there for a couple of breaths, and then just slide your forearms away. Let your shoulders come to the floor. And you should have, this is much better with a higher lift, but then again, you all are new to this, so this is perfect. And again, if you do shoulder stand, go right ahead. Keep your feet together for now. Now, it may help you now. Go ahead and tighten your belt a little. Get yourself centered on your blanket. Take your glasses off. Again and again, settle yourself. And then feel the extension of your trunk, openness of your chest. It's not the complete chin lock that you get in shoulder stand, but it's a nice approximation. So let your throat soften back, tuck your shoulders under, and your chin come down toward your sternum. Close your eyes, extend your legs. This is not really a relaxing pose, but it is a soothing pose. All right, let me say that differently. This is not a passive pose. We don't just let our legs fall to the side, for example. Although it's very tempting. And sometimes if I'm very tired, I'll use a second belt at my calves just to hold my legs together so I don't have to. But for now, we're not going to be here that long. We can do it. Feel that opening in your chest and the quieting of your mind now. There's nothing more to do than to keep your legs together. Soften, relax your trunk. Shoulder blades stay down. Lift your chest a little bit through your muscular action. And then soften. As you inhale, you can enjoy the lift of that sternum bone toward your chin. Breathe into your upper chest. Can you keep it there as you exhale? Can you keep your chest lifted as you exhale? Just one more minute. Take two more deeper than usual breaths into that upper chest. Lift your sternum. Maintain the lift as you exhale. Two more breaths. And when you've had your two breaths, then bend your knees. You can reach down and loosen your strap or pull it down. We don't need the strap. And roll off of your support onto the right side. And sit up for a moment. Remove your blocks. Remove the blankets that you were laying on. Remove the belt, unless it's attached to you. And rest in Shavasana. Lay yourself back down. Take care. Arrange your clothes. Arrange yourself on your mat. See that you're centered. Draw the shoulder blades flat on the floor. One leg at a time. Stretch them out. Arms move out so the armpits are open. Press down through the balls of the big toe. Get your nose in line with your sternum. Everything is, your center line is straight from top to bottom. And when you have that, on an exhale then, allow your eyes to recede and the eyelids to close easily. And the body begins to soften and the legs begin to roll out, softening, releasing. That changes the dynamic in the pelvis, so adjust and release. Soften, adjust. You can adjust your heels outward a bit if they are a little stuck, but don't spread your legs wide. If you didn't, you could bring the blanket up to touch your shoulders. We want that same lift in the shoulders, because when we relax the chest, we want that support to be there. As you work your way up, relax your chest, let the ribs go. And let your whole trunk breathe. Feel the movement of breath. Relaxing your tongue, your jaw. Focus deep inside now, softening, nurturing. Slow, steady breath. Until the breath becomes so quiet and yet still maintaining your attention to the breath. So that the movement in the trunk is less. The sound of the breath is less. But our attention is still there. And now very slowly begin to deepen your breath again, feeling very light. As if your breath goes right through your skin. Move your fingers and toes, your wrists and ankles, elbows. Spread your knee, bend your knees. Rock your knees side to side a little bit. Stretch your arms overhead. Move your shoulders a little.
And then as you're ready, just roll on your right side and rest there for a moment. And now roll forward and push yourself up to sitting. And sit straight and tall. If you need to sit on a blanket or the cushion, please do that so that your spine is straight. Sides of the body lift evenly, shoulders relax, upper back moves in. Feel the expansiveness, the vitality of your body. Bring your palms together, thumbs go to the sternum and lightly lift. Shoulders release down again. Inhale, lift up firmly through your trunk. Exhale, bow your head, maintaining that lift. And take a moment to be grateful for all the blessings of your life. Namaste. And thank you for coming.